My name is Jane Miller, and I'm 38 years old. I live in Austin, Texas, and I work as a nurse in the intensive care unit at St. David's Medical Center. My life was as ordinary as it could get. I was married to my loving husband, Matt, for over a decade, and we have two beautiful children, Sophie, 10, and Luke, 7. Like many others, I juggled my demanding job, family life, and the daily routine of a working mom. I wasn't deeply religious, though I occasionally went to church with my family. Faith was more of a comforting tradition for me than something I actively pursued. My world revolved around my patients and my family, and I felt satisfied living in that balance. But everything changed in a moment I never saw coming. It was a regular Friday evening in late spring, and I was driving home after a long 12-hour shift at the hospital. My mind was preoccupied with thoughts of what I still needed to do, picking up groceries for the weekend, helping Sophie with her school project, and planning Luke's birthday party. The roads were damp from an earlier rain, and the traffic on Interstate 35 was heavy, but nothing out of the ordinary. Suddenly, I noticed a set of headlights veering toward me. A car had crossed the median, headed straight in my direction. I only had a second to react. My hands tightened on the steering wheel, and I swerved as best I could, but there was no avoiding the impact. The deafening sound of metal crushing against metal filled the air, and I felt an excruciating pain shoot through my chest as my seatbelt cut into me. My head slammed backward, and the world went black. When I regained consciousness, I wasn't in my car anymore. I was floating above the wreckage. The sight of the twisted metal and shattered glass below should have terrified me, but instead, I felt an overwhelming sense of calm. I looked down and saw my own body, pale and motionless, being pulled from the vehicle by paramedics. It was strange seeing myself like that, almost like watching a scene from someone else's life. I could hear the paramedics shouting medical terms I was all too familiar with: pneumothorax, prepare to intubate. I watched as they worked frantically on me, trying to restart my heart. Yet, there was no fear, no panic inside me. Instead, I felt wrapped in warmth and love, a peace unlike anything I had ever known. Suddenly, I was pulled away from the scene, moving effortlessly through a tunnel filled with radiant light. It wasn't like walking or flying. It felt more like being gently carried. The light was beautiful, pulsating with life and energy, and all around me were colors more vivid than anything I had seen on Earth. It was as if every color held a purpose, radiating love, warmth, and peace. At the end of the tunnel stood a figure, glowing with a pure, brilliant light. As I moved closer, I realized who it was. It was Jesus. Seeing Jesus was unlike anything I could ever describe. His features weren't exactly clear or defined, yet I knew without a doubt who he was. His presence filled me with a sense of profound love and acceptance. I had always imagined this moment would be overwhelming or terrifying, but it was the exact opposite. His love was so pure that it was as if nothing else in the world mattered. He smiled at me and spoke, though not with words. His voice resonated through my entire being, reaching deep into my soul. "Welcome, Jane," he said. "Are you ready to see the gifts I have placed within you?" I nodded, still in awe, not entirely understanding what he meant. Jesus took my hand, and the moment his touch connected with mine, I felt a surge of warmth and peace flow through me. Then, everything around us shifted. We were suddenly standing in a realm of light, unlike anything I could have imagined. Golden streams of light flowed all around us, radiating life and energy. The colors here were beyond vibrant, deep blues, purples, and greens, all shimmering with an ethereal glow. Jesus explained that these streams represented the Holy Spirit flowing through all of creation. Even though we couldn't always see or feel it on Earth, this divine energy was always present, guiding and empowering us. As he spoke, I could see words forming in the air, shimmering with truth. Jesus then revealed the gifts of the Holy Spirit that were inside me: wisdom, understanding, counsel, fortitude, knowledge, piety, and fear of the Lord. These gifts appeared as glowing orbs of light within my spiritual body, each pulsating with its own unique energy. I could feel the gifts resonate within me, each one amplifying my understanding and connection to God. The first gift Jesus showed me was wisdom, a deep blue orb filled with power and insight. He explained that wisdom is not just about knowledge, but about seeing life through God's eyes, understanding His will, and applying it in every decision. I saw moments from my life when I had unknowingly used this gift, when I had comforted a patient with the perfect words, or when I had made difficult decisions that somehow felt guided by something greater than myself. Next came understanding, a green orb that glowed with divine clarity. Jesus showed me how this gift allows us to see deeper truths, revealing God's handiwork in every detail of creation. I saw the world in a way I had never seen before, each leaf, each cell, each breath a testimony to God's intricate design. The third gift, counsel, appeared as a bright orange orb. Jesus explained that this gift helps us offer godly advice and make decisions aligned with His wisdom. I saw a future moment where I would face a difficult choice at work, and how, through this gift, I would know exactly what to do, bringing peace and justice to the situation. Fortitude, represented by a fierce red orb, gave me the courage to face challenges and stand firm in my faith. I saw myself standing strong in moments of trial, relying on God's strength to overcome obstacles that once seemed impossible. Knowledge, a brilliant white orb, gave me a new way of understanding the world. Jesus showed me how everything science, medicine, and faith was interconnected, all pointing back to God's design. I saw how even my nursing career was a form of service to God, a sacred calling to bring healing and compassion to others. The sixth gift, piety, glowed with a golden warmth, representing reverence and devotion to God. Jesus showed me how this gift could transform my relationship with Him, turning simple prayers into moments of deep connection. Every action, every breath became an opportunity to honor God. Finally, fear of the Lord, a deep purple orb, wasn't about being afraid of God, but about standing in awe of His greatness. Jesus showed me how this gift would keep me grounded in humility, always aware of His power and my dependence on Him. After showing me the 7 gifts, Jesus looked at me with love and said, "These gifts are not just for you, Jane, but for all who believe. Will you use them?" I nodded, tears streaming down my face, feeling an overwhelming sense of purpose. At that moment, I heard a loud beeping sound and suddenly found myself back in my body, lying in a hospital bed. The doctors and nurses surrounding me were stunned by my recovery, calling it nothing short of a miracle. Since that day, my life has never been the same. My faith has deepened, my understanding of the world has expanded, and I've become more aware of the spiritual gifts inside me. I no longer see my nursing career as just a job. It's a way for me to serve God and others, to bring love, healing, and compassion into the world. I now share my story with others, encouraging them to seek and cultivate the gifts of the Holy Spirit within themselves. These gifts are not reserved for the special or the religiously devout. They are available to anyone who believes. Each day is a new opportunity for me to live with purpose, guided by the gifts of the Holy Spirit. And I know, without a doubt, that God's love and light are with me always. My name is Emily Adams, and I'm 50 years old. I've spent most of my life in Denver, Colorado, working as an elementary school teacher. Teaching has always been my passion, and I've devoted myself to helping children learn and grow. I've been married to my husband, David, for 28 years, and we have 3 amazing children, Sam, who's 25, Ellie, who's 22, and Luke, who's 18. For most of my life, I considered myself spiritual, but not particularly religious. I believed in God, but I didn't attend church regularly or pray beyond the occasional moment of reflection. Life was busy, and I was content in the routine of family, work, and enjoying the beautiful Colorado mountains. That contentment, however, was shattered by a heart attack that completely changed my life. It was a quiet evening in early autumn. David and I had just finished dinner, and I was sitting on the couch, grading my students' papers. I remember feeling an odd tightness in my chest, but I brushed it off as stress or indigestion. I had been feeling fatigued for weeks, but I chalked it up to the usual busyness of life, work, home, kids. Suddenly, the tightness in my chest turned into a crushing pain that radiated down my left arm. I struggled to breathe, and panic set in. I called out to David, telling him something was terribly wrong. He rushed over, immediately calling 911 as I slumped onto the floor, clutching my chest. Within minutes, paramedics arrived and quickly confirmed I was having a heart attack. The pain was unbearable, and I could feel myself slipping away. My vision blurred, and I lost all sense of the world around me. Darkness consumed everything. When I became aware again, I was no longer lying on the living room floor. Instead, I was floating above the scene, watching as the paramedics worked frantically to stabilize me. I could see my body on the ground, pale and still, while David knelt beside me, his face etched with fear. I felt oddly detached, like an observer, but also completely calm. The strange thing was that, despite the gravity of the situation, I wasn't scared. I felt at peace, enveloped by a warmth that soothed all the anxiety and pain I had been experiencing just moments before. It was as though I was standing on the edge of two worlds, one filled with chaos and the other with complete serenity. I watched as the paramedics tried to revive me, and I knew something monumental was happening. I wasn't alive, at least not in the physical sense. But I wasn't fully gone either. Just as I began to wonder what would happen next, I felt myself being pulled gently upward, away from the scene below. A brilliant light appeared in the distance, growing brighter and warmer with every passing second. It wasn't a harsh light, but one that radiated pure love and peace. I felt an irresistible pull toward it, and I willingly moved closer. The light formed a tunnel around me, filled with colors more vibrant than anything I had ever seen before: golds, blues, and purples that seemed to shimmer with life. As I moved through the tunnel, I sensed that I was heading towards something or someone of immense importance. At the end of the tunnel, I saw a figure standing in the radiant glow, waiting for me. As I stepped out of the tunnel, I immediately recognized the figure before me. It was Jesus. I had seen depictions of him in art and religious books, but none of them could capture the overwhelming presence that stood before me. His face wasn't sharp or distinctly outlined, but his essence was unmistakable. He radiated love, compassion, and a deep understanding that reached into the very core of my being. He didn't speak aloud, but I could hear his voice inside me, as though it resonated with every part of who I was. "Welcome, Emily," he said, and his voice was filled with warmth. "I have been waiting for you." Tears welled up in my eyes as I stood in his presence, filled with awe and gratitude. Am I dead?" I asked, though deep down I already knew the answer. "You are between worlds," Jesus replied gently. "Your time on earth is not yet over, but before you return, I want to show you the gifts I have placed within you." Jesus extended his hand to me, and the moment I took it, the world around us shifted. We were no longer standing in the tunnel of light, but in a realm that seemed to be made entirely of light and energy. I could see shimmering streams of light flowing all around us, pulsating with life. The colors here were even more vibrant than in the tunnel, and I could feel the presence of something divine in every atom of this place. "These are the streams of the Holy Spirit," Jesus explained. "They flow through all of creation, guiding, empowering, and sustaining life, even when you cannot see them." He then showed me the gifts of the Holy Spirit that had been placed inside me. I watched in awe as 7 glowing orbs of light appeared within me, each one radiating a unique energy. These were the gifts: wisdom, understanding, counsel, fortitude, knowledge, piety, and fear of the Lord. Each gift resonated within me, awakening a deeper understanding of its purpose. I saw moments from my life where I had unknowingly used these gifts, times when I had offered wisdom to a struggling student or shown courage during a difficult personal challenge. It was as if these gifts had always been there, quietly shaping my life, even though I had never recognized them. The first gift Jesus showed me was wisdom. It appeared as a deep blue orb, pulsating with energy and insight. Wisdom, he explained, allows you to see the world through God's eyes. It is not just knowledge, but the ability to understand life from a divine perspective. As he spoke, I saw moments from my life flash before me, times when I had given advice to my children, friends, or colleagues that had a lasting impact. I hadn't realized it at the time, but those words had been guided by the gift of wisdom. Next, Jesus showed me the gift of understanding. This gift appeared as a vibrant green orb, radiating with clarity and depth. This gift, Jesus said, allows you to grasp the deeper truths of life and creation. I saw myself observing the intricate beauty of nature, the complexities of a child's development, and the unspoken emotions in the people around me. I realized that this gift had been guiding me as a teacher, helping me see beyond the surface and into the hearts of my students. Jesus then revealed the gift of fortitude, a fierce red orb that pulsed with strength and courage. This gift, he said, gives you the power to face life's challenges and stand firm in your faith. I saw myself in moments of hardship, caring for a terminally ill student, navigating difficult times in my marriage, and battling my own health struggles. Each time, I had found the strength to persevere, not through my own power, but through the gift of fortitude. Finally, he showed me the gift of counsel, which appeared as a warm orange light. This gift, Jesus explained, helps you offer guidance and make decisions aligned with God's wisdom. I saw myself comforting a friend who had lost a loved one and advising a colleague who was unsure about their career path. In those moments, I had been a vessel for God's guidance, even though I hadn't realized it. The remaining gifts, knowledge, piety, and fear of the Lord, each appeared in turn. Knowledge, a brilliant white orb, allowed me to see the world from God's perspective, helping me understand the mysteries of life and faith. Piety, a golden light, deepened my relationship with God, turning even the simplest prayer into an act of devotion. And fear of the Lord, a deep purple orb, reminded me of God's majesty and power, keeping me grounded in humility. Jesus smiled at me as the light around us began to shift. "These gifts are not just for you, Emily," he said. "They are for all who believe. You have been given these gifts to serve others and to bring light into the world." I felt a sense of overwhelming purpose and love as Jesus spoke. My time in this divine realm was coming to an end, and I knew that I would soon return to my earthly life. But I was no longer afraid. I had been shown the gifts within me, and I understood that they were meant to help me fulfill my purpose. I awoke in the hospital, surrounded by beeping machines and concerned doctors. My body was weak, but my spirit felt stronger than ever. The doctors were amazed at my recovery, calling it a miracle. But I knew that my near-death experience had been more than just a medical anomaly. It had been a spiritual awakening. In the months that followed, my life changed dramatically. I became more attuned to the spiritual gifts inside me, using them to help others in my family, my classroom, and my community. I shared my story with anyone who would listen, encouraging them to seek out the gifts of the Holy Spirit in their own lives. Every day, I live with a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that my life is not just about teaching or family, but about bringing God's light into the world. The gifts I received were not just for me, they were for everyone. And I now dedicate my life to sharing that message with others, knowing that God's love and guidance are always with me.